flamingos. So the first page that you are going to do, that we're going to add to your Oh, the Places I'll Go book, is going to be your favorite topic study that we did this year. So we did topic studies on, first you guys did your autobiography. You made an autobiography, a story about you, right? You were the authors, illustrators, and publishers of an autobiography. And then you did your family trees, your 2-dimensional family tree and your 3-dimensional family tree. And we sang and we presented those at our Feast of Gratitude. And then we worked on our calendars and Chicken Soup with Rice books, and we sang and we presented those. We also did our gingerbread right before the holidays. And then we did our calendars and Chicken Soup with Rice books. And then what did we do after that? We did our inventions. And our inventions we did those differently because that's when we had to learn from home. But you know what? That was my favorite topic study. Even though we did it differently, it was really fun, and it was so much fun to go to the invention convention and see what you guys did on your inventions. And so the first page that we're going to do is my favorite topic study in our flamingo class was, and I'm going to write here, inventions. Okay, that's what I'm going to write on my page here. Okay, so I'm going to write inventions. I-N-V-E-N-T-I-O-N-S. And a period, because that's the end of the sentence. Actually, I'm going to make an exclamation point because that shows excitement. Inventions! And then I'm going to draw my my Germa scanner right here. So if your favorite topic study was the invention, you'll draw your invention right there. If it was your family tree, you can draw your family tree there, your autobiography, or you could draw your gingerbread house that we made, right? We made those from scratch. Or your calendar and your Chicken Soup with Rice book. You could draw any of those things here. I'm going to draw my invention because that was my favorite thing. And I'm going to read this book to you now called Oh, the Things They Invented. And you know what? We're going to read about different things that we learned about when we talked about inventors in history. So this book is a wonderful book. It was inspired by Dr. Seuss, and it was written by Bonnie Worth and illustrated by Aristides Ruiz and Joe Matthew. This is all about great inventors. I am the Cat in the Hat. And as everyone knows, I am a cat who is fond of machines and gizmos. All through human history, since before the year 1, things have been invented to help get stuff done. Tools improve daily life, and I think you will find they are fabulous products of the human mind. The inventors of tools from old and new ages will now spring to life in these very pages. If you're ready to meet them, please turn your attention to the super-de-duper invention convention, just like we had. Gutenberg, who worked with metals like gold, found a way to print books that improved on the old. Before, books were copied by hand. This is so. And the pace of these scribes was incredibly slow. Like he's writing a book by hand. Or pages were carved out of one wooden block, then inked and pressed down onto smooth paper stock. A book took forever to make, and that's why books were for rich folks alone to go by. Gutenberg's metal letters, both capital and small, periods and commas and colons and all, were laid out word by the page in the tray, locked in and then copied in ink in this way. Page after page he laid out each anew, printing 200 Bibles before he was through. His printing machine, you never will guess, was made from the very old unused wine press. A wine press, something that makes wine. Wow. Perhaps young James Watt watched a tea kettle steam and there got a spark for his steam engine dream. Did he see the effect that boiled water brings? The steam creates power that then can move things. To make matters clear, the things will now slow. How a steam engine works. Turn the page and you'll know. Ooh, a steam engine. We learned about water power. Water heats in a boiler until it makes steam, and then steam leaves the boiler in a powerful stream. It enters a cylinder, causing pistons to go. The pistons go up and down. But when the steam cools, the pistons will slow. Before Watt's steam engines did not work well at all. When the hot steam cooled down, the pistons would stall. Watt took the cool steam, turned to water by then, and pumped it back to the broiler to heat up again. Factory machines kept chugging this way, and steam locomotives would choo-choo all day. To separate fibers from cotton plant seeds took many hands picking for long hours indeed. Mr. Whitney's all-new cotton sorting machine turned a slow, dirty job into one quick and clean. The gin used a screen, and it worked simply to hold the seeds back while hooks pulled the cotton lint through. A big moving brush cleared the lint to make way for the next round of cotton. Why? That gin ran all day. The convention's next door, Star, standing right next to me, well, Daguerre, who helped make the first photography. He based it on a clever and ancient gizmo called the camera Obscura, which will now show. It's a box in a hole, and it makes thing one frown, because the image it captures comes out upside down. Another big problem, the image will fade, and that's where Daguerre's big improvement was made. Slipped into the camera was a copper plate bathed in iodine crystals. Its power was great. The plate copied an image that no one could see until mercury fumes made it clear as could be. To keep it from smudging, Daguerre was then able to soak it in water plus salt from his table. So he's developing a photo using a mixture of different things. Before Morse, the mail traveled only by letter, but mail was sent by wire, and it moved much faster and much better. Pulses of current would work in effect to cause an electromagnetic deflect. The magnet moved an arm that beat out a mode of dashes and dots we all call Morse code. So it goes beep, beep, dash, and that makes a code that makes words. Our Congress approved of Morse code, and what's more, told Morse to string wires from DC to Baltimore. Telegraphs became the latest sensation. Soon, telegraph wires linked up the whole nation. Well, soon, the son of a deaf mother, so she couldn't hear, his mommy couldn't hear. Mr. Bell really cared about improving the lives of the hearing impaired. His phonoautograph used a real human ear to draw sound vibrations the deaf could read but not hear. This gizmo led him to think maybe he could send off sounds by electricity. And his assistant Tom Watson, receiver to ear, heard Bell down the hall transmit sounds he could hear. He came up with the telephone. Remember we talked about how Thomas Edison came up with the idea for the telephone transmitter and receiver? Well, Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Thomas Edison, we're back to him. Before the tape player or the handy CD, phonographs with needles play records, you see. After improving Bell's telephone, Edison had the intention of making another telephone invention. He would copy down calls so businesses could track who had called up and who they had to call back. Just like your ear, a receiver caught sound, copied by a needle on a cylinder round. Do you see that? This is the telephone transmitter. In addition to messages, it copied music and song and became all the rage before very long. So that was the recorder. Remember, a phonograph records voices and sounds. And that's what they're doing. They're playing music and dancing to recorded sounds. A man named Daimler, who I will now mention, made a gas-fed internal combustion engine. He used this engine to power a bicycle, turning it up to the first motorcycle. Wow. Next, he took a stagecoach and unhitched the horse team, then fit it with an engine. Now, what was his scheme? The wheels spun around, and experts all feel that this was the first four-wheeled automobile. Wow, so this guy Daimler came up with the idea for the first automobile, didn't he? Huh. Well, actually, remember we learned Leonardo da Vinci had the idea for it, but he just didn't have the tools yet to invent it. When motorized airplanes had all so far failed, the brothers Wright felt that they had the deal nailed. Making wings shaped for flight was the Wrights' fondest goal, to allow for balance and flying control. A movable rudder that fit on the rear was added to help the brothers to steer. On a hill in Kitty Hawk, after many a try, Wilbur one day set out to fly. And 852 feet in the air, Wilbur flew, and he made like the birds, and he made history too. Mary Anderson, once streetcar drivers in the rain and the snow had to lean out the window to see where to go. So this guy driving this trolley car here, he had to lean out the window. But Mary Anderson drew, and then she made an arm on a spring with a rubber blade. The driver pulled the lever, and it made the blade go and sweep off the rain and the slush and the snow. What did Mary Anderson invent? The windshield wiper. How cool is that? Thing one just told me a thing you should know. Our street traffic signals once were just stop and go. At busy intersections, as you might well guess, accidents would happen, making quite a big mess. But Garrett Morgan thought it was a must to give all these drivers some time to adjust. A signal could say, in a moment or so, you're expected to stop or expected to go. And he invented a signal that paused half the way between go and stop, like yellow lights of today. So instead of just green and red lights on a stoplight, he put that yellow light in the middle. This guy, Garrett Morgan, invented that. So people would be warned to stop. Slow down, right? In 1936, Conrad Zuse invented a machine, the first working computer the world's ever seen. This computer had everything a modern one has: input and memory, process output, and all of that jazz. Steve Jobs and his team all get a big nod for the Apple computer and the iPad and iPod. Not to mention the iPhone, which I understand is a computer that fits inside of one hand. It is, isn't it? How about that? This is Tim Berners-Lee, a man who is really no big deal celeb, had a vision for something called the World Wide Web. This web thing, well, it would have no bosses or leaders. Its contributors would be its viewers or its readers. His own computer, which was the brand Next, set up a web of computerized text. Users added content as they went along, and the web was soon up, and it was going strong. Politics, facts, personal blogs, home videos of kittens and dogs. Tim Berners-Lee, now read my lips, put the knowledge of the world at your fingertips. And that's how we're watching this video right now, right? Because this man, Tim Berners-Lee, helped to create the internet. How about that? And speaking tips, I have one for you. With a dream and a plan, you can make gizmos too. And if stumped for ideas, please don't forget, you can put on my red and white cat's thinking hat. How about that? So that's pretty cool. We know all about inventions, right? From our invention topic study. So that was my favorite topic study for our class. I'm gonna draw the Germa scanner here, but you draw whichever one was your favorite, okay? Thanks, guys.